able to share my
Yeah, we're working
screen.
on
Okay, I see the share
it. Hey,
screen button. Cool.
everybody. Dietitian Ashley Koff. Sorry for a little delay this morning. I don't know if anyone else is having trouble with Zoom going into Facebook. As many of you know, I don't use Zoom into Facebook, but I started using it with our virtual business school because I wanted to show other options. So we did that last night. And it worked beautifully last night. It worked when I've tried a couple of times, and today it is not working. So welcome to the world of virtual, right? And one of the things that in virtual that is so important for us to talk about and to share resources on is how we can practice in a way that is easier on us, because in this virtual world, all this stuff changes like all the time. Like Zoom updates something, Facebook changes something, etc. That is why I love practice management entities that help us do the virtual, do it better, and really they go in and figure things out and then create these really robust libraries of videos and ways that we can learn about doing them. So all the more reason for me to be so excited to have Stephanie here today, to be able to, as a dietitian, talk to us about using Healthie as a platform. It is one that works. We integrate beautifully with it, with the Better Nutrition Program, with your tools. For shop owners, as you know, we have access to some of our evaluations, and soon all of our evaluations will be in Healthie, where you can personalize them and do all of those pieces. So Stephanie, first of all, welcome. Thank you so much for your grace and for navigating Zoom to Skype, which is something you don't do, to coming on here. And you were saying, like, tell me to write a blog or do a guide any day. And like, that's really your sweet spot. So welcome. Thanks so much
Yeah.
for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's really exciting. And yes, I am always more comfortable behind the computer and writing a blog, but I'm really happy to be speaking with you and your community and to share a little bit more about Healthy and building better programs.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And just a reminder for everyone joining, you are welcome, first of all, to say hi so we know that you are here. As I said, I know that we're late. But also, if you're joining us at a time that's better for you, it doesn't matter that we were a little bit late. And you can ask your questions, and we will make sure that Stephanie can pop back in here and answer any of them. So today is definitely about getting your questions answered. And for me, I always tell the story, Stephanie, that when I was first out in practice in Los Angeles, I was so proud. I picked up my dad at the airport in my car, and I went to put his suitcase in the back, and I was just moving over all of my files and patient information. And he was like, he's a surgeon. And he was like, what are you doing? And I was like, oh, it's great, Dad. I go to 4 offices. I have all the patient info. And I will also say in my defense, it was 2001. So this was a little bit different at that point. But good morning, Michelle. So, a lot has changed, and what we can't do in this era of virtual practice is we can't be either intentionally careless with someone's, it would never be our intention to be careless, but we can't, we have to be very careful about how we communicate with our patients, and also that it can really help us generate efficiencies in our business. And that's what I wanted to kind of break up today's conversation into 2 parts. So the first part is about sort of the protective component of what Healthie offers practitioners of all different scopes in terms of interaction with their patients. And then we'll get into, and I'm going to do that first because I call the second part the fun stuff, which is how do we help you make things more efficient? How do we help you make more money? How do we help you do, all these things that you want to do, but in a protected manner, et cetera. So Stephanie, I'll have you start off with, taking us through really that side of how Healthie helps you have a protected healthcare business.
Yeah, that's a great question. And it's honestly one of the reasons why I also was seeking a practice management platform and a more modern way to work with clients, because I am a dietitian first, although I work with Healthie now. I still see clients on the side, and I found Healthie because I was a practitioner and I was using Healthie in a pilot program that I was running. So I was also looking for a way that was easy to get my business up and running, but in a really secure way. Because coming from a clinical background, to me, protecting my patient's privacy is paramount. And sure, there's simple ways for us to be able to do it, as far as like using Word docs and paper, forms. And we've all kind of like come from that. But it's moving forward and being able to store your patient's information for the long run. I mean, just having, your patient profile, your chart notes, we need to keep those on file legally for like 8-9 years, depending on what state you're in. And I don't have the space in a New York City apartment to be piling up, piles of chart forms. But on top of that too, it was also making sure that when my clients communicated with me, right, that it wasn't via email or text messages or ways that I could possibly expose their private information. When I have them fill out forms, that it was through a secure portal. And so what Aspect Healthie provides is it's an EHR platform, and it's also a client engagement portal. So clients get a sign-in when you add them to Healthie. So they get added in, either they've like purchased a package or a service, or you've directly manually added them in. And once you add them in, then they are able to get a login to Healthie. And it's just like when you go to the doctor now and they're like, sign into your patient portal. It's a patient portal. So all of the messaging, when you message your provider, when you complete a form, it's all done in that secure HIPAA compliant portal. And so you're not risking your clients' private health information, which is super important.
Absolutely. And what would you say, at this stage, having been both, I love it. It's like Hair Club for Men. I'm both a user and I also work there. Right? I often do that too, because I'm like with the Better Nutrition Program, I'm like, I use these tools. That's how I know how they work, right? So for you, I think the storage of information is so important. I think what some people have sometimes said is, hey, my patients get really confused, right? Like, especially in the virtual space. Like, I might, as a practitioner, really understand how to use it. But what are some of the ways that you talk to your clients about the fact that you use this, and also direct them from? Like, by the way, for me, that was a very big learning behavior to not have them text me because they might have had my phone number from before, or, they wanting to send an email and that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's a big transition when you take your business a little bit more online, a little bit more virtual. It really starts with your first encounter with the client. And so it's my very first interaction. It's a discovery call. And I talk to them really upfront about what the technology is that we're going to be using and how they're going to be able to work with me. And so instead of them just getting like random emails and invitations, it's like our discovery call, it's on the phone, and we say, hey, this is how I work with you. And this is how you're going to be able to reach me. This is how you're going to be able to fill out your paperwork. This is how you're going to be able to keep a food journal. And that's also a really big selling point as well, because when you're working with a client through a client engagement portal, there's things that they can do. They're involved in their own care. So they get to keep a food journal. They get to upload their records. They get to message when they have questions. They get to book appointments. And that's really exciting for them because that's allowing them to be involved with their own care. So I make it a selling point, and I make sure that I'm really upfront about what that process looks like and what the technology is. And I also address any concerns that they have. So they may be concerned that their information isn't kept private. They may be concerned that they don't have like a phone number to call me at. And so you can kind of just talk them through that as well and really reassure them that although this maybe is something new and a little different, it's going to be really good for the both of us.
I love that. And one of the things that we're teaching in Virtual Business School is that it's so important for you to actually do that virtually. So record a video. Like somebody, when you hear that from Stephanie, you're like, oh, thank you. Like, that's great. Record that video and share that with them. Proactively address these questions. It might seem weird that you're not going to have a phone number from me, something like that. I will also say for me, it was a big cost savings because I used to navigate having a separate phone and a phone number and all these things because I was like, oh, I want to make sure. So that has also, from an overhead, reduced costs and that piece. I really enjoy that part. So when you're when you're sharing with your patients that you're going to do this and then setting them up for that, do you, and I just mentioned a video on that part, do you actually then, one of the big questions that's come up as I've been talking to practitioners in recent days or recent months really, about moving from the discovery call phase into the I'm working with a client. And I think there's some question for them when they should bring them into Healthie. So on the one hand, when it comes to the Better Nutrition tools, one of my favorite parts about it is it's really tough to have a successful 15-minute discovery call if you don't have information about that patient ahead of time that you can then actually go through and have a conversation, sell them on, hey, and show them, not tell them what you're going to be doing. So what we like to do is we like to actually have them fill out that magnesium evaluation, say, ahead of time. So they might meet you on social media. On social media, you say like, hey, if you happen to be dealing with stress, did you know that actually dark chocolate can help? Want to learn more about that? Set up a time to talk with me. Then when you're setting up the time to talk, you'll say, please fill out this quiz and share it back with me. Well, at that point, I'd like to bring them into Healthie because we're going to have them share that quiz, etc. But I was curious for you if there are, how you guys navigate sharing with people, with your clients, when to bring people into their Healthie account.
Yeah, I think you can do either or. It kind of really depends. And to be honest, like I come from a clinical background and then I worked in a group practice. I was insurance based and we were back to back to back. I never knew what patients were coming in to see me for. And so I think that's a personal preference. Like for me, I'm okay going in a little bit blind, and I completely understand that that's not the way for other practitioners. Definitely having more information and being able to really know what your client is looking for, what their goals are, what their nutritional challenges are, that absolutely can help guide your, initial call and help bring them into your practice. And so I think it can be done either way. I think it really is just a matter of preference. And so some people may just have a discovery call where they want to be like, 15 minutes, tell me about yourself. Let me hear what your challenges are. Okay, great. This is how we can work together. Or you can bring them into Healthie from the very first minute of they book a discovery call, and then you can customize your welcome emails to a client. So let's say, and I'm sure you have this set up, but they book an initial appointment or a discovery call, and then it triggers an email to them, which prompts them to create a password in Healthie. They can see your welcome email. If you have a video embedded in that welcome email, they can, welcome. Huge, right? And video is king. Like people feel really connected to you once they immediately see a video. They're like, okay, you're a real person. You're super professional. I like what you're saying. So a video is a great way to do this. And then they can get triggered to just complete that form. And it's just a little email that says like, hey, before your call, your practitioner would like you to complete a little bit of paperwork. Here it is. And they can just complete that. And then you'll be able to see it, and it's saved within their client profile.
Yeah.
So there's sort of the two different ways to do it. Go in blind or go in and have this like really streamlined onboarding experience where you're collecting information from your client from the first minute.
And so that final piece is like a big nugget for me. As you all know, I love to collect the client information, and there's probably even a third or fourth or a seventh. My point of asking that question is exactly to elicit the answer. This is so personalized and customizable because it may be that for different parts of your business, because remember we've talked about having diversified businesses. For different parts of your businesses, you do each of those that we were just talking about. So one of my favorite parts is the ability, as she was just saying, to customize and personalize things. It's just like the same way with FullScript, and there's an integration with Healthie and FullScript that you can be doing the same thing with each patient. So I love that part. So I wanted to bring something up. I was asking a colleague if she's going to pop in. If she pops in, I'll have her comment as well. Otherwise, she may just comment later. But Nicole Nicole Marsher just at Malche maybe just asked a question saying, "Are there any tech issues with the older or elderly population downloading and using the app, etc.?" And I actually asked my colleague Muriel Doyle to pop in because she knocks it out of the park. And this is what I'm consistently hearing. Like, we're actually going to be talking about this in virtual business school as well, which is like I tease my mom, like, she's a grandmother, and I'm like, hey, grandma, like now you're on here, like Skyping with the kids, you're FaceTiming, you're doing all this stuff. So my experience has been that there is not, and in fact that many of them are finding a lot of comfort, but I think it's in how you introduce it. So I'd be curious, from your standpoint, Stephanie, what you would say about that population.
Yeah, that's actually a really great question, and I'm glad that you brought it up because it is a legitimate concern if you're working with an older population, if you work with a lot of Medicare patients, if you're really concerned that they're not going to be able to adopt a new technology. And, I think to be fair, there may be clients out there who are very resistant to technology and who want to just fill out a paper form, hand it to you, see you in person, and that's absolutely, one thing to take into consideration. But I wouldn't underestimate that a lot of older people and we have to define what we mean by
Yeah.
older, but anyone that's like
older
60
than
plus,
me,
you know,
like that's all I'm saying. Older is older than me.
Yeah.
So if you're 47 and above, there you go.
Yeah, like don't count them out. A lot of them, and statistics absolutely show that, even patients in that 60, 70 population, they are eager to be involved in their own healthcare and can take it online.
Mm-hmm.
And so it may be a transition, and they may just need a little bit of education, I think, just a little reassurance from the beginning. And I think just clear resources and materials on how to get started. And that really helps to reassure them. And once they figure it out and you guide them a little bit, they're there. Mm-hmm. They've got it. And so I wouldn't just count them out and say like, okay, they're older, they're not going to want to do it, because honestly, the majority of them do want it. Yeah. It's convenient. Yeah. And when you think about them also having to come in, like, let's say working with them virtually, it actually might be really difficult for them to come into the office and see you physically in person every 2 weeks or how often you'd like to meet with them. And so offering virtual care as well is a really great way to provide convenience to them. And they'll really appreciate that.
Yeah. I think that's such a really important piece to bring up. I think that the sound, like you can adjust your sound at home. So if somebody's dealing with a hearing issue, you can also provide subtitled information. I'll expand how big things are for, and in terms of text and things like that. So I think there are countless points where you may actually get better compliance. I actually find with my older patients, they take the time to make sure that they're set up. It's usually my younger patients that are like, of course I'll pop online and see you at 3. And then I'm like 3:05, 3:15. So I think that is really key. Nicole was saying now is a great time to get them more comfortable. Totally agree. So speaking of getting them more comfortable, I want to transition us into what I call the fun part of the program. There are, by the way, there's so many resources in Healthie. Stephanie's available, but also if you have, you can go into the library and these things. If you have more questions about this compliance and some of these other, what I'll call maybe like the functional components on that part. But, for us, like one of the really great opportunities with Healthie has been just the multiple ways that you can connect with your patient. Because one of the things that I find is really critical for practitioners is even if you sell someone on 6 sessions or you sell someone on a program for a period of time, if they love you, they will still leave you if you are not engaging with them when you're not in your sessions. And so for me, I used to have this ridiculous calendar, like an old school planner, and it was like, follow up with Stacy about X, tell Taryn Y, make sure so-and-so supplement is this, like all of those things. And so for me, I just love the digitization of that, being able to have us work on the roadmap, including writing reminders about when their homework is due, and things like that. So maybe you could walk us through those bells and whistles that are associated with how you can, all the different ways that you can communicate with your clients so that there is an ongoing engagement that they can experience.
Yeah, and honestly, those are my favorite features of Healthie. And what I was really seeking for, because, also being a practitioner and working with a lot of insurance-based clients, prior to having my virtual practice, it was really difficult. It was easy to get new clients. It was very difficult to retain clients and keep them following up week after week, month after month, year after year, right? And so engagement is really what helps clients, one, feel supported, motivated, and accountable. And when you have 2 or 3 weeks between sessions, and I always say this for me personally, first week, people do really great. After you see them after a session, they do really great. They're focused on their goals. They're doing it. 2 weeks, things get a little complicated. 3 weeks, they fall off, right? Because they don't have that support if they're not connecting with you in that time frame. And so the ways that you can engage with Healthie, there's a ton of ways. And one, I just wanted to point out, like, for me personally, to stay organized and make sure I'm engaging with clients, there's a task list feature, which it's just like your little to-do list, and that you can kind of like have it there. And it's just an easy way for me, instead of having I would literally have written handouts before, being like, send so-and-so an email, send them recipes. And now that task list, it actually integrates with my client's chart. So when I click on their chart, I can be like, okay, these are the 3 things that I have wanted to do for this client. So it's one way that I stay really focused on what I need to do. 2, food journaling, which as dietitians, super amazing. Healthie was designed for dietitians. So there's a photo-based food journal. Your clients can log their meals, and I scroll through every day. I just scroll through. It looks like a news feed. So I log into Healthie, and I can do it from the app or the computer, and I just scroll through, and I acknowledge that I've seen the client's post, or I give them feedback where they need it. And so it's just like a little bit of like, if you block off that time and you kind of just scroll through and you just check it off. The other ways I engage with my clients, chat. So they can message me and I can reach out to them and say, hey, just wanted to check in, see how it's going. I can even send a blast. So if I wanted to just send all of my clients a message, it's sort of like BCCing on an email. If I just wanted to blast it out and say, hey, I just wanted to check in, see how the weekend was going. Hope you had a great holiday. Are there any challenges you're facing this week? And it saves me a lot of time so I don't have to individually message. You can also create group chats. So if you have a program, which is really awesome, and you wanted to have another layer of like support and engagement, instead of creating like a Facebook community group, you can actually create a chat group within Healthie, and clients can be your clients or anyone involved in the program or anyone involved in that group. They can message in there and post information. And then the last way that I think is really powerful is goal setting. I'm a huge proponent of goal setting. It's a lot of what I do with my clients. And when you set goals for your clients on Healthie, you can be really specific. It's a goals tool, and your clients can see that, and then I can customize the reminders that they get. So I can set it so that they get reminders every day or every week or every month, and we kind of tailor that, and it provides a little bit of accountability and clear steps forward for my clients.
And what do you do and of course, you know where I'm going with this in terms of attaching forms and, being able to do other pieces. So, that's obviously like a big one for us, where we want to be able to do that piece. So, walk us through so if I was going to be, wanting to do someone's magnesium evaluation and then, have them come through, let's go through that part. Yeah.
Yeah, so you can, and I'm sure this is what you do, but you attach any of the forms that you have or assessment forms, you can attach those into what we call a client's intake flow. So when they come in, they're a new client, they have a series of paperwork that you fill out, like a nutrition assessment. You can attach these additional assessment forms. You can also send any forms at any point in time, they're all in your forms library, which Healthie can help you upload and share to your account. You're not building out these forms. They're already built out. They're just going to be shared with your account. And if there's a client and you're maybe suspecting that they have a magnesium deficiency or they're showing signs, you can absolutely share that form with them at any point in time to get their feedback. So you can share regularly or you can share as needed. You can share as part of the onboarding process or at a regular cadence. So you can really use forms that way.
Great. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to, let's see if it works. Sharing my screen. Let's see if I come over here. There we go. Okay, cool. So I opened up, just ignore the rest of this. I opened up so this is the one that we have. And for anyone who's at Shop of Tool Owners, one of the reasons I wanted to just share this with you is this is what she was talking about, where we're able to share the forms with you. But one of the really cool things that I think that Healthie, in my opinion, does such a great job with helping all of us do is branding and personalizing your materials. So that's another bells and whistles when it comes to this is your business. We just want to power your business to be as effective as possible. So we've already uploaded, and remember, these are the practitioner versions. That's why you have to have the Shop of Tools. You'll see all the questions in here. You'll see the notes. You'll see the name of it. You could delete this down here. Probably doesn't need to be there. And then you'll just see our information down here. That's the only place it needs to be. And we can even edit this and we can say, licensed for or whatever. We can include your information. But what you could do up here is it could be Stephanie's fiber evaluation or whatever the name of your business is. Now, I happen to like this photo, so what you could do is in Canva, you could take this photo and you could actually add your logo to it. But some people actually will remove this photo here and they'll actually just put their business name. And so what happens is when we share this with you, you can share it with any of your clients. And as you'll see, we have a lot of our forms already in there. And we're just along with the other forms that we were mentioning. But then what we'll be doing is we've got the rest of the evaluations that are getting added in there. So I wanted to shift the conversation, and then we'll get to some of the questions that have come up, to other ways. So the two things that I know are on people's minds, other ways that they can personalize and brand their business in Healthie, and things that you've seen are really successful. And then the other one that we're going to talk a little bit about are programs. So let's start with like other ways that you brand your business, or that you think people would be, interested in hearing about. Yeah.
Yeah, the good thing is that Healthy on any like membership level does allow for personalization and branding. And so in those like automated emails that go out to clients, like your welcome email, you can actually edit those. So you can edit the copy, your logo. If you have a logo and uploaded that in an account, it's already attached to all communication that goes out to clients. So clients don't see like Healthy stuff. It looks like if an automated email, let's say welcome email, it doesn't say welcome to Healthy. It says, welcome to
the Better Nutrition Program. Right, exactly.
And it shows your logo. So it's already automatically sort of putting your name and your logo and your brand first, because that's what clients want to see. They don't want to see Healthy. They want to see your business.
Exactly.
But there's also on our like Practice Plus plan and above, you can actually customize things as well, as far as like your color schemes. So like when clients log into Healthy, they'll see your logo, they'll see your brand colors. Then you can also other personalization is like videos. You can put videos everywhere, links to videos where it's like you. So in your welcome email, your forms, you can embed a video into a form. So if you wanted to like put a video at that top of that magnesium form, just as like a little clip about, hey, this is what magnesium is, this is why it's important, and this is what we're going to be assessing for. So you really can put your face, your brand, your logo first in most areas of Healthy that's going to be client facing.
I love that. One of the things I love about that is how many of you have ever changed a logo? Oh my gosh, like that's the other part too, which is you don't actually have to, like in most instances and places, you'd have to go reprint all the things, right? Like when we change this or, some of that, it's like, oh my gosh, the dollars associated with, et cetera. And if I change a color scheme, if I change a font, if I want to temporarily, maybe I'm like Google and I want to temporarily change something and then change it over to something else, real advantage so that, that engagement, again, how do we keep people, especially people that might be coming back frequently, maybe you're on the holidays, you want to change it, using a fun emoji, Bitmoji of you or, any of those things. I think that is really important. Yeah. So, before Stacy, I see your question and we're going to definitely get into that. I will say as the Better Nutrition Program, we stay agnostic from picking our favorites. I really love Healthy and I also love Practice Better. And so, but I do want to allow Stephanie to talk a bit about what are the pros there. But before we go there, because one of the things that I do love is this ability to do virtual programs. So I thought you could talk a little bit about, as you know, when somebody purchases either an independent program or when they get our shop of tools, they get access to all 12 of our programs. They get the slides that I've created that are customizable. You rip our logo off. You've got photos. As you said, you can add in videos. You can do, if you want to do a cooking demo, you can do all of that stuff. So you get the slides, you get the tools, which as we showed also, if you've got the shop of tools, you can use the ones that are already in there. And you also get access to our Facebook group so you can see what legal and how we've set it up. So I like to say we get you 80% of the way there. But what I think is really interesting when you look at what Healthy is doing with virtual programs, you're actually like 90, maybe like 95% of the way there. It really depends, and the remaining part, remember, is just you. It's your special sauce. It's what you want to add to the program. So take us through doing virtual programs in Healthy. What are some of your favorite pieces and on that part?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that programs is one of the most exciting tools and sort of new areas to explore for your business if you're currently not doing programs, because especially in this current climate, it's a really amazing way to automatically engage with your clients and deliver this just so much information in these little bits that are so impactful and digestible for your clients. And so I love programs. So like Ashley was mentioning, when you purchase a program or you're building out a program, Healthy makes it really easy. all you have to do is you go to your programs tool, and I can always, share a screen and show this, but you go to your programs tool, and then you can, we create modules. So you can create a module, and all you do is click the module and then the content type that you're going to add, whether it's a video, a form, an email, or a PowerPoint, a document. You just click it, you find it, you upload it. You've already customized it at that point, and then you decide what day you want it delivered at. So this should go out day 1 of your program. If you're doing a 30-day program, right, it should go out on day, something to send every day. So the other aspects of that, emails. So you can also just customize the emails that are going to send. And again, that's content. That's you. That's anything additional that you want to add. A video of yourself or recording that you want to add. That's you. And then there's also other things that you can tie into your program. So there's the programs aspect that's just like content, static content, that pre-recorded content, pre-created content that's going to drip out. But you can also add more dynamic features to your program as far as perhaps doing like virtual support groups. Like maybe there's a weekly group video chat that can be part of your program. You can also have that group chat that I was mentioning. And so there are some other ways to make your program, if you really wanted to connect and engage and add a little bit more of you and do that, you can do that. And so there's the telehealth tools and the other ways to connect with your clients that I think you can do that.
Oh, I love it. Great. Sorry, I was looking down because Muriel was still trying to join us, and I know she'd have comments, so we'll see if she pops in here. But so one thing that Stacy was asking just about the pros and cons, I'd rather not focus on the cons, but I do think there are pros. There are differences between Healthie and Practice Better, and we have Stephanie here to talk about them. And Nutrition for Living shared one of them, that Healthie can service more than one practitioner for scheduling. But yeah, it would be great to hear from you just, and because also too, as you expressed at the very beginning of this, for those of us who are just joining, Stephanie is not just doesn't just work for Healthie. She found it and chose it, and continues to choose it. So I think that's an important thing as a practitioner. So go ahead, take it away. What are some of those?
Yeah, so I think, and you have to excuse me, like I'm not a Practice Better user, right. So I can't really talk to like the features that they have and the capabilities. Perfect. And I'm just a long-term Healthie user. And so some of the capabilities, especially when you're talking about groups and expanding your practice, which I think is really important and really, if you're bringing on another practitioner, if you have an office assistant, if you're part of a team, a big group practice, Healthie does allow really for you to grow your membership. And plans start at, the basic beginnings plan, which is you only have 5 clients, you're just starting out, you're a little sprout, you're growing, right? And you can basically add tiers of service on. So there's more premium features. Everything's included in that plan. So there's no like add-ons additional to that. But you can grow your membership plan as your business grows. And ultimately, we do have groups and organization levels. And so if you are part of a group, we do have a shared calendar. There's an organization calendar. You can have multiple practitioners, multiple locations, different rooms in different locations for clients to book. You can share all of your resources, which I think is pretty amazing. And me coming from a group practice as well, I can't even tell you how many times it's like, where are all the recipes on, easy dinner meals and easy chicken recipes? And like, you can literally have a database where all practitioners share that information. And that to me is amazing. And not to mention also the forms, your onboarding process. So you can make sure that everybody's using the same forms, the same assessment forms, right? Every client is having the same experience when they're joining your practice. And that scheduling is super easy, super clear for everyone who's involved in that practice. And then as an admin, you can also control what different providers in your practice, what they can see and what they can access and what they can edit. So you can sort of maintain, overall your organization or your group practice settings. So that's definitely the room to grow there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of room.
Yeah, and she said that sealed the deal for you. You had 4 RDs at once. And so absolutely. And I think one of those things in all of these spaces is I actually don't worry too much about which one is better. Like, I honestly feel like maybe it's my experience with other, banks where I'm like, should I be Chase or should I be, whatever. And it's like, find somewhere and then really get to know it and use it and that whole piece. And what I love right now, and I love with Healthie, we've had, first of all, just such an incredible collaboration. It's so easy. You understand our business and how we're working to empower practitioners. So I really appreciate that. Full Script, that integration, super important, being able to bring those pieces together. So, just a lot of value with Healthie. So what I'd love to leave everyone with on my end is, if you haven't checked out Healthie yet, I would highly recommend that you do, because just as we were saying for your patients, if this is a great time to get them used to technology, it's also a great time to get you used to that part. I know many of us are hoping that this will go away. I've had many of you who have said to me, I can't wait until this is over, i.e. I can go back to seeing patients in person. I don't think it's ever going to go back to just that. And I think in order to have successful, protected businesses, you really want to be able to do this. Now, the upside, not saying there's an upside to coronavirus, but the upside to what is happening with this virtual world right now is that a lot of barriers, especially for RDs and for, certain practitioners, are being broken. So it may be that, we're able to practice across state lines more easily or other things. Mm-hmm. And if you're not in a position to take advantage of that right away, you're missing a competitive advantage. So that's my call to action for you. I don't want to add more things to your week, but I highly recommend that you do check it out. So I'm going to get to asking Steph, or at this moment, I'll pause and just ask you, Stephanie, if somebody just wants to check it out or have, what's your version of a discovery call or learn about it or talk to someone?
Yeah, and I can post the link if you want. We do have demos. We have group demos if you want to join.
Awesome.
There's also a couple of live classes that we welcome, even if you're not a Healthie user. So if you really want to see what our telehealth features look like, we do have live classes as well. And I think and then there's the trial. There's a no commitment 14-day trial. If you wanted to just try it out, I would recommend, if you're new to Healthie, with any technology, there is a learning curve, but there's lots of resources available to you. And so I would start the trial, and I would join all the live classes. So there's sort of like part 1, part 2, part 3, and then there's really deep dives on features like programs and telehealth.
Right.
And so I would join all of them so that you can see and get a really good walkthrough of how you can utilize those features in your business. And then you'll get a lot of support in helping to build out your account, which you can mostly do on your own, but there's lots of resources for you to really do as well.
Yeah. And this might be the time to say, you know what, this is what I'm going to invest in from a continuing education standpoint. I'm not going to focus on something else right now. Because as she was saying, it really is important to go into that deep dive to figure out what you want to be doing and what you're comfortable with on that part. Nicole was saying she's been using the free version, but excited to have all these other benefits. Absolutely, Nicole. And as I mentioned, it is super, super convenient to be able to use the shop of tools, really to use any of our tools, to be able to share that information, to customize it with the shop of tools. It's great because you can brand and, do all of these other pieces, and be able to have that information, whether it's working with the individual clients where you're setting up a roadmap for them, or whether you're going into more of the program space. So we would love to talk to you about that part. If you haven't set up a call, please do that. That's right below here. And as I mentioned at the start of this, I will be inviting Stephanie in here so she is able to answer questions and be able to share those links. So our customer service person will make sure that she's in the group if she's not already. And we just really appreciate your time, both today or if you're watching at a better time. And please, if you have questions, look, I can invite Stephanie back too if we want to dive just into something around programs or something that's a specific topic on that part. So let me know. And if you have requests of the Better Nutrition Program as it relates to Healthie and also to Full Script, we would love to know that part as well so we can all serve you better. So thank you. Love seeing also what you guys are doing on social media. Thank you for tagging us. We had fun doing bingo this last week. And if you don't follow Healthie on social media, it's Get Healthy. So we love following their Instagram. We're always finding out new things to be able to do. And that's a fun one too to follow and maybe get some shares on something that you're doing. So if you are using Healthie, I'd also suggest doing that part as well. All right, everyone, and thank you again, Stephanie, for your grace with navigating a little bit of Zoom, a little bit of Skype. I'm sure there's a song in there somewhere, but really appreciate that part.
Thank you. It was really nice speaking to everyone today.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody. Take care.
Bye. Good luck, everyone.